tribute has been paid to Northern Ireland's former Deputy First Minister Martin McGuinness, who died yesterday at the age of 66 after a short illness. One of the most poignant quotes was from Ian Noctor Jr. He said, "It's more important how you finish your life than where you start." Joining me with that story and everything else this morning, our group political editor at Independent News and Media, Kevin Doyle, and director of the Irish Academy of Public Relations, Ellen Cunningham. You're both very welcome to the programme.
Morning.
Let's start off with that quote from Ian Noctor Jr. first of all, about being more important where you finish your life than where you started. Coming from a Republican, you'd say, well, yeah, I can see how he would say that, but coming from Ian Noctor Jr. makes it all the more remarkable.
It does. It's going through the papers this morning. It's very interesting to see the conflict that I think a lot of editors and a lot of writers had yesterday in trying to get that balance right of where Martin McGuinness stands on the spectrum of Irish history, terrorist or a politician. And I think it's very interesting to even look at the Irish papers versus the British papers, because the Irish papers have more or less gone for gunman to statesman, and that's the kind of editorial line, is that, okay, there was the period in the 70s and 80s with all the atrocities and everything that happened, and then there was the period in the 90s into the noughties that has brought around the Northern Assembly and the relationship with Ian Paisley and the handshake with the Queen, and there's a heavy focus on that kind of positive side of Martin McGuinness's history. The British paper is much more Telegraph in Britain today, leading with suggestions that the PSNI made a strategic decision not to investigate him for certain atrocities, even though they had evidence, because it would be too politically sensitive. And the Mail in particular, the Irish Mail, which I think you showed earlier, just had a picture, nothing else, just a picture of Martin McGuinness. The British Mail has a picture of victims of IRA atrocities, the Enniskillen bombing, I think the Guildford bombing. So two very, very different takes on it there, depending on where you're looking at it.
I suppose one of the interesting parts about this, Ellen, is Martin McGuinness as a strategist. He obviously came to a decision at some point in his career that you can't bomb your way to a United Ireland, and ultimately his aim was United Ireland. And then he went and he embraced the peace process. So it seems to have been kind of a Machiavellian approach to his ultimate goal. The end justifies the means, no matter what. Whether the ends were violence or whether the ends were the ballot box.
I think he was very pragmatic, and actually I was thinking all day yesterday, I couldn't shake the idea of Michael Collins from my head.
Right.
That in 50 years' time, maybe we will be speaking about Martin McGuinness in the same way that people now speak about Michael Collins. I'd never actually thought of the similarities.
It's an interesting one, yes.
But there are a lot of similarities between them. I think what surprised me most, from the coverage so far, is that people have actually said he was very straight in his dealings. That you were never unsure about what it was he wanted. He called it exactly as he wanted it, and if he gave his word for something, and Bill Clinton said, if Martin McGuinness said he would deliver, he would deliver. You never had to question it. And I suppose it's a mark of respect that so many people across the political spectrum, I accept that people who were injured or people who were families of victims very reasonably have said he never closed that door. He never actually brought closure to them. But others have said, look, he did everything he could possibly do. And I think his relationship with Ian Paisley was absolutely incredible. Nobody expected that to work. And it seems to have been partly driven by his personality, that he was a genuinely warm character. I never met the man, but everybody says he was a genuinely warm character, so it was hard not to like him.
And partly driven perhaps by Ian Paisley's Christianity and his belief in forgiveness, and that if you atone for your sins, or if you seek forgiveness and then act out your life in the way you believe you should do afterwards, well then perhaps that is a reason to allow a positive relationship to develop. What's going to be interesting, Kevin, now, the funeral arrangements for Martin McGuinness have not as of yet been finalised, according to a senior Sinn Féin spokesperson speaking there earlier on. What sort of funeral potentially are we going to see?
I think it's going to be unlike anything we've seen before, because if we talk about that conflict again in his personality or his history, there will be a certain Republican element to it. I think there's no doubt about that. You're going to see a very, very heavy Sinn Féin presence, but then you're simultaneously going to see the Taoiseach. You're going to see the President of Ireland there. You may see some American dignitaries there. You would presumably see Arlene Foster and people from the Unionist
background. She said she wants to attend,
and you already have people like the Queen sending condolences to the family. So it would be very difficult to bring that that balance and to make it right. And that we're told that the family will ultimately be deciding how the funeral will be organised rather than Sinn Féin or the Republican movement.
Yes.
So I suspect, given Martin's relationship with people like Ian Paisley in the latter days, that they may try to tone back a little bit on the Republican element of it, but I suspect that would be hard to do because in the city of Derry that's what he is best known for.
Yes, but I presume we won't see any trappings, any militaristic trappings, anything that would reference perhaps his time back in the IRA?
I presume not, but at the same time, he came from where he came from, and you can't deny that either. So I think a funeral that almost pretended that he was always a statesman wouldn't do him any justice either, and wouldn't be a reflection of what he went through, his experience, and what people in Derry would expect. I think it will be a funeral that reflects the fact that he is a statesman. I think the fact that the Taoiseach and the President are both attending says a huge amount about how statesmanlike the end of his career was. But I think his funeral, almost in the way that you bring up gifts to the altar that represent your life, I think something will need to represent the earlier part of his life, because that in part created the man who became the statesman later.
Of course it did. Of course, 2 o'clock tomorrow, the funeral will be taking place in the Bogside in Derry. Moving on then to the continued search for the 3 missing crewmen of R116. Weather permitting, a search is getting underway again this morning, where they're using the various technical equipment they have, Kevin, to go and see can they actually bring resolution to this particular story as well.
Yeah, I think it's one of those that there's not a whole lot left to say. You know, everyone just wants a development, a breakthrough at some stage. The weather has been so awful, and even outside this morning it's hard to see. If the last few days were bad, today is pretty bad again. So it's just one of those stories I think everybody wants to end, for the families especially.
Please God, sooner rather than later. Can I just very quickly bring up another story with you? Dáil committee may get shirty over TD's sloppy dress. That's the headline in the Irish Times this morning. This is to do with decorum, shall we say, and looking your best when representing your constituencies in the Dáil.
I loved this. It's a 45-page report that actually looks at all of the different parliaments around the world and looks at the rules and regulations that they have. Some of the parliaments have no rules and regulations at all. Others have. I think where it probably comes from isn't so much, my immediate reaction was, it's all about sloppy dressing and do you wear ties and
it's all about Big Wallace and Claire Byrne, is it?
Should you look presentable, and does one wear a suit in the Dáil?
Claire Daly, Claire Byrne. Claire Byrne is always dressing the lines.
But I think actually it's more than that. I do think you dress for the job.
Yes.
So I do think we expect our politicians to look a certain way, and we probably expect Mick Wallace always to wear a pink shirt at this stage as well. It is almost his brand. But I think it's brands that the Dáil is most nervous of. I don't think the Dáil should be used to support, to endorse, to argue a case for anything by branding in terms of T-shirts or wearing a logo. And I think it's probably that they need to control, not whether or not it's a big shirt or a tie.
Thank you very much, both of you, for your time this morning. Do appreciate you coming in. Now, let us know your thoughts on any of those topics. Text AM, followed by your comment to 53131. Email irelandam@tv3.ie. Facebook or tweet us at irelandamtv3.